Hello, happy Sunday, retail traders. We're going to talk about Amazon and what a great trade that was Friday. If you all paid attention to it, a lot of people didn't know which direction the stock would go, but I'm going to show you a little idea of where I thought it would go, and that was from the previous week that we had. So this is the Amazon. This is the weekly. The weekly right now, 3 year. And we've had like a 3 year Darvis box, and here we pulled back to that Darvis box support in the last month and kind of found this little support level. The pivot point in that box is right around 31.95, and we went up and hit that today. That's about the midpoint inside that channel, so that becomes resistance, 31.95.40. Now I bring this up to the 20-day. Let's look at the yearly first. Just kind of get a picture on the yearly about where that pivot point area is. Well, that becomes a very hard resistance. So we're going to go ahead and clean this, remove this drawing right now. We're going to take it to the 20-day. Now, the week before, we had what you call a sell-off. We had a pretty hard sell-off, and that was in about everything. If you look at the SPY, it was the same. And there's a previous video that I done of the SPY and my indices that I look at. They look about the same. But in this case, when we were in that Darvis box on that SPY, this one was forming some kind of like a flag pattern. And I talk about this when I'm doing the sneaky snake trade. And I'll show you these trend lines right here. You go from the top of that candle right there, just kind of form it on down. And same thing right in here. Well, actually, you could just bring it straight across, but then it started showing higher lows right in here, which is what I noticed, that it was showing higher lows and it was getting ready for a breakout. Definitely getting ready for a breakout. So backward wedge, whatever you want to call it. And we did have that. So my concerns, would we pull back to that same support that we were in? And we were having that sell-off. And I mentioned, if we pull back to the bottom part of that Darvis box, it could be a good idea to take the trade. So other people were, nobody really didn't want to make, there was a few that made up their mind. I called it out. I said we were going to go up. It was about an hour and a half before the market closed. So you had plenty of time to get into the trade. But I noticed and realized that we hit the bottom of that box. And that was important to make my final decision if I think I was going to take the risk and take the trade and run it up. And then after hours, earnings came out. They were great. They were outstanding. I mean, I'm listening to the Bears bash this thing for 20 days straight. And I'm scalped it this week and just watched it tank here. I mean, it was horrible. And to watch that same thing happen again, but once we hit that bottom, boom, I knew it was time. So now we got to think how we want to take this trade. So let's clean this up a little bit. Let's just clean it all up. We'll go back to that 3 year and magnify that resistance level. And that resistance level is right here. So we're going to go ahead and definitely put that on here on the weekly. And then we're going to find that first support, and that's right down in here. And there's another one right here. I'm using the weekly candles. So I'll take it now to the yearly. And I'll do some fine tuning, which I see some kind of resistance, a real strong resistance right in here, or a support level. So I'll make that into a red line. That's important right there. If we hold that, we still stay bullish. You got a candle right there. You got some indecisiveness right here. And you have this right in here. You have all kinds of indecisiveness, weakness, and strength. So it's definitely a strong pivot point area on the yearly. And if I look back on the weekly, this was the strong resistance level. Yeah. So I'm going to make that a red line. Inside of that channel is going to be your resistance level. So let's go back to the 20. So if we can stay and break out of this here 31.95.40, I think we'll definitely run up and have a resistance level of 32.15. Now if this thing pulls back, possibility of getting in a trade could be right down here in this channel right in here between 30.97 and 31.08, somewhere in that area. So those are your support levels, and that's your resistance levels to break. And then I'm going to add one more resistance right here at the 31.80. So there's your 3 resistance. Now we'll take this to the 1 minute. See if I see anything different. I like to go down to different time frames because each time frame has a different consolidation of support and resistance levels where they have consolidated. For example, I have this marked 31, 34, 26, but if you look at it closely, you could see I could adjust that level a little bit higher on the daily 1 minute to right about there. That would be this area is what I'd want to hold to stay bullish. This would be my buy area, and if it would be my oversold area down in here. So I want to keep that in mind. Anywhere that stays in this area, I'm going to still consider it bullish, and it might be a good scalp to take the trade back up and run it up to the 200. Now if we come in here tomorrow and this breaks the 200, then we have resistance 1, 2, and 3 to break. And that's 31.80, 31.95, and then 32.15 for a solid resistance. So I'm bullish on Amazon. I wanted to show you about what made the trade look good on Friday. And earnings were excellent. Bezos become $18 billion richer. Zuck, I think, lost twice as much. So let's keep an eye on Amazon. Right now you're at the pivot point area. Support's going to be down here, and the resistance channels are going to be up here. You can use this as a support level, but I'm bullish on it, and I don't think this stock can drop any lower than 69.41. And then hard resistance 32.15 with the pivot point area again at 31.34 to 31.41. And have a great day. Retail traders, we'll see you tomorrow. Be patient. Let the trend be your friend, and then let the chart take its course. Too many people jump in the trade too fast, but last week was a good time to be in the trade within 2 to 3 minutes of the market. I've noticed it about every day, which kind of reminds me that we're starting to hit bottom here a little bit, but we still have a lot ahead of us. So don't get too excited. We'll see you later.